It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Divas That Care. My name is Candace Gish. If this is your very first time tuning into the Divas That Care, a huge welcome. The Divas That Care now is in its 13th year, and we are listened to in over 30 countries around the world. And honestly, it's because of all of our amazing guests, our listeners, our amazing tribe out there, all these hosts that have joined our network. We're so excited about it, and we're so happy that you've joined us today. All right, everyone, I'm so excited. I have a brand new diva I'm going to be welcoming to our family. Her name is Karen Yakovich, and I am so excited. She's the CEO of Up Level Media. Karen, welcome to the Divas That Care.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my gosh, I am so excited to get to know you. I had the opportunity to go to your website here, and I was like, wow, this is what she's doing. I can't wait to share it with our tribe. So, Karen, would you mind introducing yourself to our listeners today?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Karen Yankovich, and if you check me out, if you throw that name in a Google search, you'll see pages and pages and pages of things about LinkedIn primarily. And what basically that means is, where I landed today is that I help primarily women create a strong brand using timeless marketing, which I think LinkedIn is, right? Human to human marketing, to build a strong personal network to build wealth for themselves. And, we hear things like, it's not what you know, it's who you know, and you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? And we often believe that to be true, yet we spend a lot of our marketing time on other platforms. So my goal is to help more women understand the power of their networks, to build strong, powerful networks, to show up as if they are strong, as the strong, powerful women that they are, so that they can build real wealth into their business and into their lives.
I love that. Can I ask you why LinkedIn?
It's interesting. I'm a little bit older than social media, and my background is in sales and marketing. And so, it was the good old-fashioned marketing, right? So actually meeting with people and not necessarily knocking on doors, but I've definitely done my share of cold calling. But my strength was always relationship marketing, right? Like how do you, who did you need to meet? Who are the people you needed to talk to? And when social media became a thing, I started to shift my business to be helping some businesses with online marketing. And it was really a lot of fun for me because I feel like I have this really fun kind of left brain, right brain combo thing. I love the geeky, techie part of online marketing, but I also love the relationship part and the heart-to-heart connection piece. So even though I was kind of helping people with their online marketing in general, I kept driving back to LinkedIn because I was like, hang on, people want to know more about you. We want to build a relationship with you. We want to make sure that you are showing up so they understand the power of who you are. So I started speaking about LinkedIn, and people started asking me more about LinkedIn. So then as I learned more about online marketing and learned the value and the power in niching your brand, I started to niche down more to focus on LinkedIn, which was heavenly because I didn't have to remember everything that was going on every single platform, right? I could just really focus on LinkedIn. But as I did that, it actually started to build more value into my business because now I started to get known as a specialist. And I've since then niched it even further into supporting women, although I don't really care what your body parts are or how you identify. I just feel like women need to feel more included on LinkedIn, not really excluding anyone. But I think that, women just don't do a good enough job of building their personal networks, of building their networks full of the kinds of people that can change their business and their life. And I am here to change that.
And I've really noticed that LinkedIn is really more for professionals, isn't it? That's what I find. It's really business-oriented. There is some other stuff that is definitely posted on LinkedIn, but people are looking for job opportunities, or they're looking for products, or they're looking for something for themselves that way.
Yes and no. Yes, of course, we are doing all of that. But I think when we only think about that, we are overlooking the real profit opportunities on LinkedIn. When I talk about wanting women to be building out their networks, there's 3 categories of networks I want them to be building, right? Obviously, it's the first category, let's not overlook, who can hire you. whether that's as an employee or as a contractor or a consultant or as a coach or whatever it is you want to do, right? But that's not really that's what a lot of people are doing right now, and that's why we're seeing a lot of spam on LinkedIn, and nobody really wants to have those conversations. Here's what I do. Give me your credit card, right? Nobody wants that conversation. But the second two categories is where we overlook the power of LinkedIn. The second category being collaborations. Who else serves the audience that you want to reach? And if you are having conversations with them, and those conversations now are, here's what I do, who do you know, right? Like, and really just doing true, good old-fashioned networking. And now you're getting introduced. Now those conversations are, hey, our mutual friend Mary suggested we talk. We can much more quickly move to the sales opportunity, the enrollment conversations, or the contract, getting the contracts. But keeping in mind, I want you to do this in a very micro-targeted level. I'm not looking for you to do this times 100 every week. I would love to see you do this times 5 every week. But what that means then is the opportunities you're looking for have to be the bigger opportunities, right? So let's say you're B2C and you sell pens, right? And you're not going to do that to sell a pen. You're not going to talk to, get a referral to somebody that wants to buy one of your pens. But what you're looking for then is referrals to somebody that maybe has a chain of stationery stores that might want to buy 5,000 of your pens, right? So when we're marketing on LinkedIn, I like to call it flipping the funnel, right? Like really thinking about what are the biggest opportunities you have. And this is where I want women to think bigger, right? It's not about just charging more. It's about looking for providing more value, providing, 10 times more value than even your investment is, but to really think about the biggest opportunities. And that middle category then, the who do you know, becomes really powerful because now we're having these conversations and we're landing $5,000 and $10,000 and, $100,000 contracts. And I have people that I worked with that also were looking for jobs. And before they were even, I have one student that I worked with where she had a job. She was a teacher, and she was also doing some YouTube work, and she wanted to really build her YouTube coaching business and help schools use YouTube in their curriculums. But when she started to show up more confidently, her boss's boss reached out to her and said, how did I not know you? How did I not know you worked for this district? And gave her this huge raise and promotion. And it wasn't even what she was there to do. But as soon as you start showing up in a bigger way, all the things in your life start to get affected by you having more confidence, right? That was only 2 things. I do have one more to tell you about,
Yep.
But tell me what you think so far.
Well, I really like the part that you're really re-educating people because what we think we know, we don't really know. And I love how you're kind of explaining it in a different way because I've seen so much out there. You're kind of giving us a broader view of how to utilize LinkedIn to our best abilities.
I think so, and I think if so many people avoid LinkedIn because there is truly a lot of spam on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn can absolutely be your money tree, whether it's a new higher paying job or a new, or a big fat juicy contract, right? That's where that stuff happens on LinkedIn. That's where these things are happening. So we have to show up like we're worthy of our biggest opportunities that are out there. And by the way, a lot of that starts in our heads, right? Like there's a lot of mindset work that goes along with this strategy. I can give you strategy all day long, but if your mindset isn't set to take that identity leap that I want you to take, it's going to be a lot harder to get where you want to go.
So what type of clientele are you looking for?
Yeah. Honestly, most of the people I work with are women in some kind of transition. A lot of people I'm working with now are leaving their corporate job. Maybe they went back after the pandemic and they were just like, this, I just don't want to do this anymore, right? And they're rethinking what the next chapter in their life looks like. I work with a lot of those people. And what I know to be true is you can craft the next chapter of your life. One of the first things I do when I work with people is help them craft. What is your big, fat, juicy opportunity? What is the target you're going to be using on LinkedIn to go after? So there's opportunity. Whatever you think, whatever your heart is saying you should be doing in this next chapter, we can use LinkedIn to help you get there. Sometimes it's income leaps. Sometimes, we've been hearing all these people talking about being a six-figure entrepreneur. I really believe a six-figure entrepreneur is a myth. I think 6 figures as an entrepreneur keeps you hungry. It's not enough. We have too many expenses as an entrepreneur, and there's this like hamster wheel that we're on. I want your minimum mindset to be around $250,000 as an entrepreneur. And that puts six figures in your bank account, right? So a lot of times I'm working with people that have been stuck on that I need to make six figures hamster wheel, and they just can't break off of it because their expenses and their what's coming in and what's going out seem to just keep, spinning them in circles. So I want them to think bigger and just push right through that and get to that next income jump. So sometimes it's people like that. But either way, sometimes I've had people that have retired and they just want to be working on boards of directors. They want to have some opportunities like that. Authors ready to publish a book that need to create a platform and need to build their network of people that are going to promote their book, right? So it's less about the types of people and more about people that are ready for that next level.
I like that a lot. I am so happy that you're on here today to share that with us, because I know so many individuals that are listening to our podcast that that's exactly what they're doing. They're going through a transition, and being at home, they realize that they wanted something different, and I think you're exactly what they're looking for.
Well, I hope so. Do I have a minute to tell you about the third category that we didn't cover?
Oh, yes. I would love that.
Yeah. So the third category is the journalists that talk about what you do, right? So if you are looking for a job or you are looking for a client, news is 24/7. If you go to your local, whatever it is you do, find out who's writing about it. And it's not just about sharing the articles, it's about connecting with the person writing the articles and building relationships with the journalists that write about what you do. And when you are the one that is quoted in the newspaper, interviewed for the magazines, interviewed on podcasts, right? When you make an effort to do that, that's giving you the credibility that I want you to have that helps people feel comfortable investing at you at this new identity level that I want you to be thinking about, right? So that third category is really where this is powerful, because if you're looking, let's just say you're at a job and you've just been passed over for promotion. If you're the person that's being interviewed about what you do on podcasts and newspapers or magazines, if your company doesn't promote you, somebody else will hire you, right? Because you're building your brand. And this still comes down to the people you know. And the journalists are the people we know, right? They're people that we need to have relationships with so that we can build a strong personal brand that has us showing up as when you interview me, I get to borrow your credibility, right? So that's why I think it's so important that we're doing this, that we are building relationships with the journalists. If I met somebody that's listening to the show, is going to have a little bit more confidence in what I'm saying because you brought me to the show. If I met that same person in the back of an Uber, they don't know who I am. I've got no credibility, right? But that media gives you credibility, and that helps all of this come together.
And you are also the host of a podcast, and I want to talk a little bit about that because I like how you've really incorporated everything that you're doing together.
Yeah. So, I started my podcast actually before I niched my business down to mostly supporting women. My podcast is called Good Girls Get Rich, and what I mean by that is when you really think about what you're good at, what do you love doing, what can you do all day long, and you build your life and your business around that, that's where the abundance comes into your life. And so often we think we should do this and we should do that, and people think, somebody told us we should do this or that. I want you to do what you love to do, because when you do what you're good at, everything comes together. So my podcast it's focused we obviously talk a lot about LinkedIn and PR, but we talk, I also have some guests that I think our audience would enjoy, and I really try to help women understand. I want there to be more wealthy women of influence in the world. And sometimes people are just not ready to work with me I have a 12-week program, or to join my program, or to work with me privately. So sometimes I love having the podcast because I could send them there, and there's just so much great value there that I can kind of, it's like my gift to my community while they are getting themselves ready to start to work with me.
What an amazing idea. I love that. Obviously, you're on social media, so how can they go and listen to you and, go check out your website so they can...
Yeah, so I'm at Karen Yankovich across all social media. I would love for you to connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know you heard me here so that I'm looking for your connection instead of wondering, how do I know you, right? So let me know how I know you. But I also have some really fun things happening soon. So I would definitely say listen to the podcast and subscribe to the podcast, because in the next I would say early July 2023, we're going to be announcing a pretty fun new free thing that we're offering. And I don't want to talk too much about it yet, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're listening to the podcast, you'll be the first to hear about it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Karen, is there any last minute things? Like I love how when our guests come on there, they always give some tips and tools, things like that. Is there anything that you can share with our listeners today?
You know what, I would say, I know that there's people listening to this saying, yeah, I hate logging on to LinkedIn. And I'm just going to ask you to just humor me and do it and log on and maybe even just go through your people you're already connected to. Look through your existing connections and just see, like, maybe somebody's done something differently. Maybe there's 5 people you can reach out to and just say, hey, let's catch up. You would be amazed where those conversations go. And those are the conversations that bring wealth into your life and your business, I promise you. And I want to hear about them. So if you do it, definitely let me know when you connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know how it went.
That is perfect. Thank you so much. Karen, I would love to have you back on the Divas That Care because we're all about education, but we're all about collaboration too on the Divas That Care. And I know that that's something that I think that you would be wonderful to be a part of with us.
I'm happy to. I'd be happy to. I'd love to. Anytime.
Well, thank you so much. I've had so much fun. And to all of our listeners, I'm going to be posting all of Karen's information here. You've got to check out her website. It is absolutely fantastic, guys. And go and friend request her on LinkedIn. Go follow her. Go get to know her. I think it's really good when we're able to collaborate, and you never know who you're going to be able to work with, but how you're going to impact somebody else's life. So make sure you take this and share it with all your friends and family. Karen, thank you again for being my amazing guest today. Welcome to the Diva. So happy to have you as an honorary diva with us.
Oh, thanks so much. I'm honored to be a part of your community.
Thank you again. And a huge shout out to all of our listeners. Make sure that you do something kind today, okay? Until next time, everyone.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.